Hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome. Happy September. I can't believe it's September already, but here it is. And you know it's September because Rowan launched their new fall magazine for autumn winter 2021. So it had to be September. And it's also so happy because did you ever see anything happier than this? Isn't this fabulous? Oh, everybody, I'm Ellen Lewis, and this is Crazy for You, and I'm so glad that you are here. Tonight, we are going to dive into the new Rowan magazine, which is Rowan 68. It is just lovely. You know, if you've never held a Rowan magazine in your hand, you are really missing a treat because it is so beautiful. It's like one of those European Vogues, you know, that you see at the airport. It's just so slick and glossy, and the inside of it, it doesn't read like a pattern magazine. It reads like a fashion magazine. You know, it's so beautifully styled and carefully curated, and the models are lovely and the settings are beautiful. It's just so inspirational. So I'm really excited to show this to you tonight. And there's a link. There's a link in the comments if you like the patterns in this book. That Rowan is really good about putting a lot of patterns on Ravelry, but they're very protective of the patterns that they have in their magazine, and for good reason. A lot goes into this. So if you like the patterns in the magazine, they're only available in the magazine. They're not available individually through Ravelry. So you can order them. There's a link on the website, and I would be happy to have you do that. So who's here? Hi, Eveline. Hi, Gwen. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight. So what I want to share with you, I guess I'll start by sharing my screen and kind of going through some of the patterns. Hi, B. Hi, Lori. Oh, so nice to see you. So Rowan puts together in their magazine a series of like stories. So there's several collections in there. And they all have they're linked by a theme or by a yarn or by a designer. So I think that's so nice the way they do that. So hi, Norma, how are you? I wanted to share my screen and sort of show you what is there. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okie doke. So the first kind of theme is called seamless. And I'm not a big seamless girl, but there are a lot of reasons that people do like seamless garments, and there's a lot of appeal. And you'll see in this, they're not all garments. A lot of them are accessories and other things. But let's just go through. So this is a little shrug by Lisa Richardson. There's a lot of color work in this. I think this is really fun. Interesting construction. And this would be kind of an easier color work because there are only ever 2 colors in a row. So that's kind of a nice one. And that's worked in felted tweed Aran, which is a worsted weight version of lovely felted tweed. And this one is Abbotsford. So traditional seamless raglan line. I love in the pattern, it says, "This looks easy, but it's not. Please read the instructions." So I love that. And I think that just sort of sums up the whole difference between kind of American knitting right now and British knitting, which Rowan is the very British company. Americans are used to seamless, and they're used to the whole complicated putting the markers in and making the increases and, maybe short row shaping at the back neck. But I don't know that maybe British knitters are as used to that. But I looked at the pattern, and if you are a seamless knitter, this is pretty standard seamless construction, seamless raglan construction. And this is worked with 2 strands of Alpaca Classic held together. Alpaca Classic is a light DK weight yarn, but held together on a 10.5, it knits at 12 stitches to 4 inches. You could also knit this if you like it in brushed fleece. It would be lovely in brushed fleece. I love the lightness of this fabric, and I love that little feather detail, this little feather lace. I don't need to tell you how I feel about seamless in general, but there it is. Okay, this is Carol Varak. These must be kind of places in like Wales or someplace where they have shot this. This is, again, Alpaca Classic held together, and sort of an interesting kind of coat jacket thing. You'll see this theme throughout, this sort of kind of unconstructed, big oversized, really cozy jacket in this collection. I think this is really pretty. It's worked in several pieces. You can see the back is horizontal and the sides are worked, up and down this way. So very pretty. Lisa Richardson is really a very talented designer. It's a very elegant, kind of sweeping duster. I think that's pretty. Hi, Kaidi. All right. And this is Kristen Tendike, who is not part of the traditional Rowan stable, but a very talented in the round designer. And I think this is very lovely. Very traditional. To me, that's a very Rowan-y kind of garment. And in your traditional felted tweed at 22 stitches to 4 inches. Very close fitting. Also by Lisa Richardson. This is this is called Culzine, and this is worked in Alpaca Classic, and I think this is just worked, 1 strand. Kind of a little tabard. The construction is up and over, so you knit all the way. You either start at the back and you go up and you do a neckline, and then you bring it back down over the front, or front. I'm not sure exactly which one they've done, but it is a seamless construction because they have no shoulder seam on that. So there's a lot of ways to do seamless that aren't necessarily, raglans. Anybody see any that they just love? Oh, like Dunrobin. Okay, thank you, Evelyn. All right, Thurliston. I like this. Georgia Farrell is a young designer. She's with Quail Studio, and she's just incredibly talented. This is, again, your classic raglan seamless. Very pretty. I love this stitch detail. I think that's really nice. Alpaca Classic again. And then this is Georgia Farrell again, and this is just a fun shawl. Garter stitch, several shades, very pretty. And this would be fun to play with color. Any 3 colors that you would like to put together, I think would be really fun. Alpaca Classic is just a beautiful, beautiful lightweight yarn. It's really lovely. It's got a tiny bit of fuzz on it, but you don't really notice it until you're up close. So that's a really pretty, this would be a lovely light transitional kind of garment accessory. And then, of course, Martin Storey, who is such a great designer, has done Cauter, I happen to know that's pronounced Cawdor because that's named after Cawdor Castle, which is in the Inverness area of Scotland, which I've actually been to Cawdor Castle. Isn't this pretty? This poncho. This is worked side to side with these beautiful cables. It just sort of speaks to me in terms of fall. I love that. Look how pretty that is. This is worked again in felted tweed Aran, which is worsted weight, but still nice and light because of the construction. It's a woolen spun. So very pretty. All right, next is Bunloit. Little capelet with some pretty cables. These little mini capelets are very big for the fall. I mean, they never really go out, but Trish Malcolm was, when she was presenting this to the retailers, had some pictures from various runway shows. And one of them was this kind of tight fitting shoulder capelet as a look. And I think they've done a nice job with this, making it small and tight, but still keeping it kind of traditional with the cables. This would be fun to knit, wouldn't it? All right, and this one is by Arnie and Carlos, who are just these wonderful couple. They live in Scandinavia somewhere. I'm not sure whether it's Sweden or Finland, but fun. They do a lot of color work. In fact, they have their own book this season. So they do the traditional color work, but I think the designs are much more Scandinavian than traditionally British, which is very nice to have that kind of that different aesthetic. How many of you like to do color work? Which one do you like, Lori? Would you knit this one or this shawl? B, which one do you like? All of them. Sort of hard not to. And this is still in the seamless. Again, we have Kristen Tendike with the yoked color work here. Color work in the round really is a great reason to work in the round. This is pretty. This to me sort of feels kind of Icelandic. If you remember the sort of the Lopi sweaters and that motif, that pointed motif. That's what that looks like to me. Okay. Anyway, I think it's pretty. And Galena Carroll. This one's called Kincardine. And this is slightly different in that it's a one of those little close-fitting capelets, but it also has sleeves. This is sweet, I think. I like the contrasting color at the neckline and this very delicate stitch work here. I think that's beautiful. And the sleeves make it a little easier to move around and, you know, do what you need to do while you're wearing it. And that's knitted in felted tweed on 5, so at a fairly tight gauge, 24 stitches. And this one, Dumfries. I know how to pronounce that. We have a Dumfries in Virginia. So this is kind of cute. It's got some little, whoops. Why am I not getting, whoops. Okay. Let's look at this one. Okay. I'm not sure what that little, okay, so that's just a little fringe at the bottom. Isn't that cute? How many of you like fringe? I think fringe can be so pretty and playful. So that's kind of different. And ski bow. I think this is lovely. And I love the way they've photographed this in this beautiful manicured herb garden. Classic cables. Very pretty. And this again is in Alpaca Classic. So that would be very nice and light to wear. It looks heavy, but it would be very light. But warm. Oh, aren't these fun? So Ginny Stein loves these. These hand warmers, these would be a fun class, don't you think? If any of you are interested, it would be something you'd either have to use double pointed needles for, or two circulars, or you're not a fan of the magic loop, but you could do the magic loop if that floats your boat. But this is worked in Alpaca Classic, and it's charted, and it has some corrugated ribbing there. So that would be a fun class to do, I think. How many of you wear arm warmers? Yeah, isn't that pretty, Bee? That green one? Yeah, that was lovely. I think so too. Yeah, you would wear the arm warmers? I think they're fun. And I think that would, like I said, that would be a great learning experience. Cute, huh? Yeah, let's see if we can't get Ginny to teach a class on that. And this is Hamilton. Hang on just a second. And this is worked with felted tweed and Alpaca Classic held together. And that's what gives it this cool effect. Can you see how it sort of looks mottled? I think that's very beautiful. That reminds me of the verdigris that you get on copper when it's aged. I think that's really pretty. Again, a classic raglan construction in the round, but here at the shoulder line, don't you love this little touch that they've done, the little cable there to accentuate the raglan line? I think that's beautiful. And it's also nice because they've used a yarn over increase, which is much easier than some of your raglan increases that can get very tight when they're stacked. And then she's duplicated that same pattern treatment kind of along outside. Isn't that pretty? I love the way those fibers look together. It's interesting how when you hold fibers together that are similar in gauge, how sometimes the one is in front and sometimes the other is in front. Do you see how sometimes you get the green Alpaca Classic in the front, and sometimes you get the blue felted tweed? And I don't know that there's really any way to control that. It's just part of the charm. So that is pretty, I think. And this is just a fun little cowl. Worked in felted tweed. If you've never worked in felted tweed, or you just want kind of a quickie little project, this would be a nice one. I think that just takes 2 skeins of felted tweed. Very pretty. And then this one, again, you've got color work, but this time it's at the waist. And I think this is kind of having a moment right now, the color work at the waist that a lot of designers are doing. I think it's very pretty. The sleeves almost look like arm warmers in themselves. I bet you could make them into arm warmers if you didn't want to do the whole sweater. I think that's pretty. I really do. I don't know what it is. I'm not a big fan of yoked color work. Maybe I just am uncomfortable with that whole thing. But at the waist, I think it's really nice for me. Everybody's different, right? Pretty, huh? Okay. So just a couple more in this. All right. Again, this is in the round. This is adorable. This is a skirt. I think this is so cute. This is worked in the felted tweed Aran again. Pretty, shapely. I think you'd be surprised at how flattering felted skirts can be. And then this also is kind of our next one, which is a piece that goes with it. This little pullover, which looks great as a set with a skirt, or just kind of with the pants. Isn't this a great look? I think this is the most beautiful look. I just love that. So I think that's very cool. So that is it for seamless. And you can see that there are quite a few different designers who've contributed to that. And I think that's nice. So let me get the next one up. That's seamless. Can't remember if the next one is City Tweed. I think it is. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. So this is City Tweed, and these are all worked in felted tweed, and this is entirely by Martin Storey. He has this cute little poncho, which I like, and just a short sleeved V-neck cardigan. These are nice basics. You know, I think a lot of times with felted tweed, we get a bunch of cables and it all feels kind of busy and heavy. But I think these are really nice. And this I love. So this is like a twofer. This is the scarf and then the sweater in the same color. This is just a lovely cabled, cozy scarf. Looks like it's probably even a reversible cable. It's hard to tell, but isn't that cute? And then with the sweater, it's just kind of a nice twin set concept. It's not really a twin set, but when you have this scarf and the sweater together, kind of like. So I like this. I like the easy fit. I like the way it's sort of a lot of body, a lot of ease in the body. I think that's nice. This got a lot of love from the team. I think everybody really liked this one, which is a very drop shoulder, very oversized with a drop shoulder. It's similar to the one from Mode last year that Martin Storey did. So if you tried that on, then you know how this fits. You like the poncho, Karen? I think that's pretty too. And this one I think is, again, just a nice basic. The jewel neck, very classic, with kind of a double moss stitch in there. So it wouldn't be so boring to knit. That's a tweed. This is a very ladylike cardigan version with a jewel neck. Very retro to me. And then this one is the one everybody just sort of fell in love with. Palladium? Yeah. Long V-neck, kind of a jackety tunic length cardigan. I think that's just beautiful. And of course that color is very you, Heidi. Don't you think? All right. So the next one is Homeware. Okay, so Erica Knight is a wonderful designer. She does a lot of homewares and she does a lot of baby things, but she's put together this beautiful collection of really kind of cozy things. I mean, I don't know if she started designing this before COVID, but it just is so, you're home and you take this Afghan that you've been cuddled up in and you just belt it and you put it on and that's your skirt. That's the kind of thing my daughter Katie would do. I'm just going to wear this, Mom. I'm just going to wear it. But this is a lovely throw, and it's worked in the creative linen. So look at that beautiful stitch work. Isn't that pretty? So there's that. That's called Salt Wave. And then she has this cushion, which is nice. Cushions seem to be having a moment too. I know Arnie and Carlos have several cushions. They have a whole book of cushions, or pillows as we call them here in the States. And this again is worked in creative linen. Another throw in creative linen. We don't often think about making throws and afghans in non-wool fibers because a lot of them can get very heavy, but I think the linen is a nice choice here. And you can keep it out all year round. It doesn't ever feel, itchy, and I can tell you that that linen really washes beautifully. So that's a pretty one. Lots going on there too, so it wouldn't get boring to knit. And then here's a sweater that she did. This is knitted in big wool, super chunky, very, very cozy. That's the kind of thing you're just going to snug up in for sure. Like I said, that's knitted in big wool. Kind of feeds on that that Danish term, or is it Danish term? Yeah, hygge. Hygge, which just means, to cozy up. We already looked at that one. This, another sweater. This is worked in brushed fleece. Very soft, light design. Drop shoulder, interesting little detail in the back. Very cozy. Another throw. Can't remember what this one's knitted in. Hang on. Okay, linen and brushed fleece. So that's an interesting combination. And I think she's alternated rows. So you can see how that looks. And then it has some generous fringe. That looks almost woven, doesn't it? Wouldn't you just love to cozy up in that? And there it is in an alternate colorway. And this is Bracken, which is a giant cozy wrap. Wrap or throw, yeah, scarf, okay. I'm playing with the colors, again, in felted tweed. That's pretty. And then she has this cushion. That's so fun. Again, in the linen. These, I think, are awesome. When you've got like just a little bit of this or that left over, to be able to toss them in and make just these cute little slippers, how adorable are they? You'll notice in this and in other designs of Erica Knight, she has like not woven her ends in. And I think I talked about this at an earlier time about how the fashion world now is kind of taking after the hand knit world, and they're doing things like leaving ends off or whatever to kind of say, hey, this is hand knit. And I think that's just fun. So kind of purposefully homespun and artsy. Here's another sweater that she did. Very loose, very slouchy, cozy. And this is so lovely. This is a big wool throw, and you can't really see it too well over here, but over here you can see that she's left that tail untucked just to say, hey, this is hand knit. I knit this. So now you don't ever need to weave your ends in. You can just say, hey, I'm doing it because I'm showing that I knit this. Isn't this pretty though? Lots of different colors kind of work together in this tonal. So 2 strands of big wool work together. So you've got the same 2 of the same color, and then there's sort of ombre mixed together here and then up. Very nice. Yeah, there you go. You can see that the tail. Isn't this just so pretty? Of course, nobody's going to sleep on that white couch. Okay, so that is Homeware by Erica Knight. The next section. Okay, so that's what's in That's what's in the magazine. So those are the designs that are available only in Rowan 68. And I'm almost out of time, but I did want to share with you real quick. I have a book. This is a lovely book by Martin Storey. It's called Carousel, and these are all knitted in alpaca soft DK, which is one of the great joys of knitting. That is a beautiful, beautiful DK weight yarn, very soft and squishy. And if you will bear with me, I will bring up that and show you just real quick these. So this is the whole collection. First is the cover design plume. Whoops, can't see me, huh? There we go. Okay, so this is the cover design plume, because you see it looks like little feathers. Isn't that pretty? Nice color work. This, of course, stunning coat. I dare you. Who's gonna knit this one? That's definitely a work of art, isn't it? It's called Moonflower. Moonflower. And this is the Lattice Hat. So he has these two designs. There's Lattice and Daystar. And he's done them in the same color, so they're kind of interchangeable. But there is a hat and cowl for each one. This is also the arm warmers. But you see you can mix and match the Daystar and the Lattice. So I think that's really, really cute, really clever. There's the Daystar hat. And this is the Daystar cowl. And this is the Lattice Scarf, which I think is beautiful. Nice color work. Worked in the round, so there's no color work purling. Solar, which is similar to plume, but a different motif. And then this one, which I adore. And I actually have this put up in kits at the shop, if this appeals to you. I think this is just a lovely, lovely cowl with this very pretty classic floral motif. Isn't that nice? I like that a lot. Well done, Martin Storey. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you, because I promised I wouldn't take too long, is this, which is these fabulous and fun colors that I showed you at the beginning. So it's just a small collection. It's just 4 designs, but oh my goodness, I think they are so cute. So this is a big coat knit in this cerise color of the big wool. And again, there's a trend. I mean, they definitely looked at this when they were putting the collection together. I mean, Trish Malcolm is on it. She watches the runway shows. I'm sure she goes to Fashion Week London and Fashion Week New York. And so she put together this whole collection. And one of the trends that was very strongly represented in both New York and London were these neon brights. And I'm probably not going to wear a coat this color. Let me show you. But you can see it. Not going to wear a coat this color. But I would totally wear one of these scarves. I mean, look how fun that is. Isn't that so cute? Can't you just see yourself knitting one of these for every female on your Christmas list? I just think that's so great and so fun, and I want to have that in the shop. So we have all the colors of the big wool, so that's very exciting. And there's hats that go with it. So if you didn't want to make a cowl, you could make a fun little hat, or you could make both. And I just think this is more fun than a barrel of monkeys. I love it. And this one is so interesting because I love Entrelac. And this is an Entrelac sleeve on a main body. And look at this color. Megs, I'm looking at you. So that's really, really fun. So anyway, that is what I have to show you tonight. I didn't want to go over a half an hour, but I'm already over. But anyway, I'm glad that you could join me and tell me if any of these excite you and which ones. Are you a big wool knitter, or are you more of an alpaca classic on a 5? So big wool on a 13 or a 15, or alpaca classic on a 5. I would be happy to hear. I love the neon scarves. Any purple? Well, okay, so there's not an equivalently brilliant purple. There's kind of like a dusty purple. I'll look and see. If you want a purple, I'm sure that there is. We'll get it. Okay, and Gwen, what book are this designs in? So the Martin Storey. Are you talking about the Martin Storey? The Martin Storey alpaca alpaca soft decay is in this book called Carousel. Each of these patterns is available individually on Ravelry if you want them, or you can get the whole book. And the Big Wool Brights is in its own little pattern collection, all its own. So it has all 4 of those patterns in there. And I think this is just adorable, and everybody should have one. So, thank you. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Good. Okay, so I will see you next time, and I think next time we will probably be looking at the new Noro. So I'm super excited about that. And I will catch you later, and thanks so much for joining me. See you later. Bye.